Hello everyone. Today we're going to go over a tool that is available on the GeoGebra website. There's multiple tools you can choose from on the website, but today we're going to focus on a certain collection. We're working with the primary school mathematics collection, and there's a few different tools that are in this collection that you can use. The one that I'm going to go over today is the first one, illustrating addition and subtraction of proper fractions. Now, something students should know before they start using this tool is the terms fraction and proper fractions. They should also know what mixed numbers are and whole numbers. They should have some knowledge of addition and subtraction of fractions, so they should already know that you need a common denominator between the two fractions when you have to add or subtract them. And students should also have an understanding of what equivalent fractions are, because that's how you end up getting the common denominator between the two and how you eventually end up getting to the answer. Now, this tool, you can do addition of fractions or you can do subtraction of fractions. To start out, we can do subtraction of fractions. So there's the fraction slider tool that's available. Make sure that that's clicked. Otherwise, if you unclick it, you just have a set numerator and denominator that you're working with. If the option's clicked, then you can switch the numerator and denominator between both of the fractions. Now, for this tool, the denominators don't exceed 10, and because we're working with proper fractions, the numerator would never exceed the denominator. So to start out, we'll just start with a random problem. So right now I have 3/5 minus 1/3, and you can see that these fractions are not equivalent to each other. So in order to do this, we have to come up with a common denominator between the two fractions. So we know in order to get the common denominator between the two, you have to multiply each side by some number. So you have to have some prior knowledge of how to get common denominators between fractions. Here, I know that there's a common denominator of 15 between 5 and 3. We have to multiply 3 by this side and multiply 5 by this side. If a student is struggling, there is the equivalent fraction option that you can click where it will actually show you what the common denominators are. So, like I said, you multiply 3 on the one side and 5 on this side. So 3 times 3 is going to be 9, and 3 times 5 is 15. And then we have 1 times 5, which is 5, and 3 times 5, which is 15. So since we have a common denominator between the two fractions, now we're able to subtract. So this one, it worked out where the fraction on the left happens to be larger than the fraction on the right, so we can just easily subtract right across. Now, if you want to do it in your head beforehand, you can. Otherwise, there's this option where you can shift the circle left into the right circle. And when you do that, you see that the pieces overlap. We'll do that again. So here's the 9/15 into the 5/15. When you shift it, you see that these options over here overlap each other, but then these are left over. So we know that these are 4 pieces left, and it physically will show you that when you click the evaluate result button right over here, and then just like we said, 9 minus 5 is 4, and it's over 15, so our result showed us that 4 pieces were left over the 15 total part. Alright, that was how to subtract fractions with this tool. You can also use this tool to add fractions. We'll use a different fraction since I accidentally forgot to unclick these options, so it showed you the answer already. So let's start from the beginning. We'll just use the sliding bar over here to switch between the numerator and the first fraction, and we can use the slide bar to switch between the denominators. So let's see, I'll just pick a random one. And remember that if you choose a smaller denominator, that your numerator is going to be small, seeing that it doesn't exceed the denominator. So right here, I can only go up to 3. So we'll change that. And we'll just pick another random one over here. We'll go higher. So something like this one, you might not be able to immediately know what the common denominator is between the two fractions. So using this tool, if you don't have time to sit there and think, you can just skip to the check the box equivalent fraction, and it immediately comes up with the common denominator between the two fractions, which happens to be 63. So you'll multiply 9 times 3 to get 27, and 9 times 7 to get 63. Over here, 5 times 7 to get 35, and 9 times 7 to get 63. And since these both have common denominators now, you can just add straight across. So 27 plus 35 happens to be 62. So ironically, we didn't, again, get an improper fraction, but to just show you really quick, if I change the numerator up top to be a little more, we do end up getting a common or an improper fraction, because now the numerator does exceed the denominator, which becomes an improper fraction. And it shows you the mixed number result right over here, so it's easier for students to visualize. And by shifting this circle from the left into the right, you can see the extra pieces that are left over. And so you see that there's a whole part filled up, along with 13 additional pieces out of the 63. So you get 1 and 13 63rds. And that's how you use the addition of fractions and subtraction of fractions tool in this GeoGebra website. Thank you for listening, and I hope you were able to learn something from this tool today.